This is the Nancy Stevens Lifestyle Show here on the New Horizon Radio. In association with Haversley, experts in the sale of lettings, estate agency and block management businesses. If you're thinking of selling now or in the next 5 years, get in touch. They're a friendly bunch at haversleygroup.com.
Welcome to the Nancy Stevens Lifestyle Show here on the New Horizon Radio, and a busy show ahead. Talking about Coco Mellors' debut novel, a fashion masterclass in London last week, which was amazing, but less amazing was the tube strikes that accompanied it. London was on... Tubes were on strike the whole of last week, so that made us have a 4-hour journey every single day. I don't know how people do it every day. So two hours on a train, 2 hours on an Uber. It was a lot. So respect to people who commute to London every single day. But it was a long day, long 2 days, but really worth it. Sheridan Smith's latest drama on ITV. My first experience of a singles event. That'll be interesting because I'll be talking to my guests later on from Solar Connects. Sam and Rachel. What am I up to this week? I'm going to see 222, Downton Abbey, the grand finale. Tears Will Be Shed. I'm just wondering whether it's appropriate to wear a tiara to the cinema. Probably not. Professor David Wilson's book launch at Waterstones, a meal out, and I'm going to see Top Hat. A little bit about me, dopamine dresser. Today I'm wearing... Gosh, I can't remember this dress. I think this is a collaboration, Vogue Williams collaboration, Little Mistress. And I haven't worn this dress in years, actually. It still fits me. It's a wrap dress, super flattering, very comfortable. Cat Mum. My favourite thing to do in the whole world, apart from watch musicals, is afternoon tea. And I'm a little bit of a bookworm. And I am a huge Sheridan Smith fan. Everything she does is absolutely incredible. Apart from the show she did last year in the West End. I think it was called One Night or One Day or something. Oh, no, Opening Night. Opening Night closed, I think, about a month later. That was nothing to do with her acting ability. It was just not a great concept. But everything she's ever done is just incredible. And she just seems to embody every single character that she portrays. She was an I Fought the Law, which is a four-part true crime sort of drama on ITV and ITVX. Telling the story of Ann Ming, a mother who, after her daughter Julie Hogg is murdered in 1989, fights a 17-year battle. Can you imagine? Legal battle to have the UK's ancient double jeopardy law, gosh, that's quite hard to say, law overturned, so that her daughter's killer can be retried. Sheridan Smith actually plays Ann Ming, who loses her daughter Julie, and her performance is just the heart of the series. It really is. She is absolutely phenomenal. She's believable, emotional without being over the top, and for capturing both the fragility and fierce determination of Ann Ming, who is this feisty woman who's just determined to get justice for her daughter, and quite rightly so. And as a parent, I think there isn't a parent alive who wouldn't do the same. But I think what she had to go through, I think a lot of people would have given up because it was 17 years. The show doesn't shy away from the grief and the horror, and the indignities followed that the Ming family had to go through, and sort of discovering Julie's body under the bath, and it's heart-wrenching. It really is, and years of legal limbo as well, but they're handled with care. The drama gives weight to what sort of everyone around Anne goes through, sort of grief-wise as well. I found it really inspiring, but that one person's sustained fight can lead to victory is just it's just so inspirational. The involvement of the real Ann Ming as consultant really made it sort of believable. So everything felt sort of true to life and not dramatized. And obviously you have to dramatize to make it more interesting. But I can't imagine that they would have had to do much more because, there's all the boring legal stuff that one has to jump through and the politics and everything. But it's at the heart of it, it's an incredible drama, but it's actually someone's life, and one has to sort of remember that when you're watching and thinking this is really good, but actually no, this isn't really good because this is what happened to this poor girl all those years ago. But as I say, it's definitely one of Sheridan Smith's strongest performances to date. It's not light viewing, but it's deeply important. And Ann Ming goes through, as I say, she goes to the highest level of, she goes to sort of the barristers, and she goes to the Houses of Parliament, and then the House of Lords, and she is campaigning to get this law changed, and she manages to do it. I mean, this law is something, I don't know, it's like 500 years old, and the British legal system is, it's very intense, very set in its ways, and for this working class woman who just fought to believe in that her daughter's killer should be retried, it's an incredible story and very, very inspirational. So I thought the law is on ITV, starring Sheridan Smith. And working with Waterstones this week, I am talking about Cleopatra and Frankenstein. I keep wanting to say Antony and Cleopatra because that's what you would think, actually. This is Coco Mellors' debut novel. I loved her. I actually didn't read them in any particular order, not that it matters, but I read Blues Sisters a couple of months ago, and I was really taken with her reading. She writes so beautifully, and I thought, well, I'll give this one a go as well. So this is Cleopatra and Frankenstein, and as I say, it's her debut novel. Not an easy read. Here's the premise. New York is slipping from Cleo's grasp. 24, at a different party every night, and with a student visa that's swiftly running out, she doesn't even have money for cigarettes. But then a chance encounter on New Year's Eve offers her a way out. Frank, successful and 20 years older, can give her the security she craves and the green card she needs. And in Cleo, he sees a life filled with beauty and art and freedom. As the two rush headlong into an impulsive marriage and their friends are drawn into its tumultuous orbit, what began as a chance meeting will change their lives forever. Not an easy read, but really, really compelling. There's so much to unravel there, actually. There's infidelity, emotional baggage, addiction, clashes of ambition, family trauma, all the usual stuff that most of us have had to go through anyway. And there's sort of, multiple shifts of characters as well, which is quite interesting. So it doesn't feel just about them, because sometimes that can feel like a bit two-dimensional. So having their friends sort of talking about their friends as well. Coco Mellors describes the friendship groups that they both have, and how they kind of work and how they don't work is quite interesting, because that's what life's like. You're in a relationship, but then you've got two sets of friends, and it's whether they can actually meet in the middle and get on with each other. And realistically, I think if that happens, you're onto a winner. But obviously, because of the age gap, it doesn't necessarily work. And so Cleo wants to party, and her friends want to party. She's got lots of gay friends, lots of drugs, lots of sex. It's basically very rock and roll. And Frank is sort of older, established. He's got a very successful ad agency, and a different set of friends. And so the worlds collide, but not necessarily in the right way. So the themes of sort of loneliness, grief, and disappointment, trying to sort of reconcile love with individual trauma, are handled in such an incredible way, which really sort of resonated. Having been in a marriage myself, which was quite impulsive. That we didn't really know each other. We hadn't talked about fundamentals like having children. A lot of this actually made sort of, it resonated. It was uncomfortably familiar, shall we say. It's a really, really striking debut novel. It's not perfect, but holds a lot of power. And it's honest depiction of love, because love, we know is not a many splendid thing. It is a very difficult journey with many bumps along the way. And I mean, obviously that's appropriate because I've got Sam and Rachel from Solo Connects coming in later to talk about National Singles Week. So, there is, people want to fall in love, but it's how we do it and how we navigate it when we do fall in love is the complicated bit. Falling in love is easy. It's the aftermath that's really difficult. But if you enjoy character-driven stories, messy relationships, and novels that make you feel both heartache and recognition, this is definitely one to read. And Cleopatra and Frankenstein is available at Waterstones, Milton Keynes. Welcome back to the Nancy Stevens Lifestyle Show here on the New Horizon Radio. And as I mentioned earlier, I went on a fashion masterclass last week to London, and it was really, really interesting. It was run by the London College of Style, and They taught us so much. I did learn so much, actually. As I said last week, I think that the fashion colours of the season are what you'd expect this time of year. Typical autumn colours, greens, chocolates, burgundies, and with a hint of lilac, and lots of tartan. There was tartan everywhere, and check as well. But the interesting thing that I learned was about global fashion and how to sort of avoid assumptions and boxes, modesty dressing as well, varying degrees of sort of modesty dressing as well, and also the cultural significance of dressing in a particular way. That was a real eye-opener. But for me, what I found as someone who is a dopamine dresser and trained in color analysis, what I learned about the significance of different colors for different religions regions is really, really interesting. Obviously, so for the West, I'll just read out a few. It's quite interesting. Some are not a great surprise, actually. Obviously, black in the Western world is sort of death, evil, mourning, formality, and elegance. Eastern wise, wealth, prosperity, and mystery. In Africa, wisdom, masculinity, and maturity. Middle East, rebirth and mystery. And Brazil, mourning, religion, and formality. White. In the Western world, purity, weddings, angels, and peace. In the Eastern sort of countries, death, mourning, and funerals. Again, completely opposite to the West. Africa, victory and purity, which is kind of more Western as well. So purity for us is sort of most people get married in white or a pale color. China, mourning and ghosts, and India, purity and spirituality. So that was really interesting. And red, Western, we all know, is love, danger, and excitement. Eastern, which is sort of China, prosperity, good fortune and celebration. India, purity, auspicious, and weddings. So lots, Indian brides get married in red. So it is absolutely taboo if you're going to an Indian wedding to wear red. So I often have clients come in to see me and say, I'm going to an Indian wedding. What colors can I not wear? And I did know that red is absolutely taboo. So that was one thing I did know. Middle East, obviously, it means danger and caution. South Korea, passion and good fortune. And then we've got many other colors. Yellow, sort of in the Western world, is happiness, warmth, and optimism. And the Eastern countries, royalty and courage. And Western, green, nature, luck, money, and renewal. Blue, so in the Middle East, is protection and spirituality. So it's really, really interesting. The things that you would just you would just wear a color. You wouldn't think about the cultural significance of it. So for me, that was really, really interesting. And as someone who loves color, I was thinking, well, I guess, if there is that significance attached to color, there are some days that you potentially can't wear certain colors. So yeah, I learned a lot about that. So really, really interesting. So if you're worried about sort of cultural appropriation or misappropriation, you're going to a wedding or a funeral of a sort of a culture that you don't understand, please speak to a stylist or please do your research beforehand, because it's an absolute taboo to get it wrong. And I'm going to talk boobs now. Bras, boobs, anything to do with bras. But did you know that 80% of women are wearing the wrong bra? Chris is nodding sagely, only because I probably said it a million times. It's something I feel really, really passionately about. And our fashion masterclass last week, we had some bra training, which was really, really interesting. I've been a bra fitter for, best part of 10 years. And I'm very lucky. I can look at someone, kind of guess what size they are. But a really easy, quick fire way to sort of ascertain what size you are is if you're a 10, you'll be a 30. If you're a 12, you'll be a 32. If you're a 14, you'll be a 34. So it goes up in increments of 2, generally speaking, give or take. But so I hope that makes sense. For me, it's logical. So for instance, I'm a 12, which means I wear a 32 double G. So I bought one of my bras, and I'm sorry, it looks like it's not very exciting. But the reason I bought a nude bra in is because a big mistake lots of women make is they wear white bras under white, and you can see it. So a nude bra, whilst it looks terribly unsexy, not very exciting at all, is your best buy. So if you're only going to buy one bra, and they are not cheap, you're looking at sort of 38 to 40 pounds for a decent bra. Think about it. You wear your bra every single day. You need to spend the money. Why would you spend £100 on a dress if your underwear is not right? So a nude bra is absolutely an essential part of your wardrobe. You wouldn't build a house without foundation, so why would you build an outfit without your lingerie first? So as I said about the band, that's a really easy way to do it if you're not sure. Most women are wearing probably 36B or something. So it is too big in the band and too small in the cup. So what you get is sort of rising high at the back. And for the purposes of radio, my hand is halfway at my back pretty much going up towards my neck, and then you end up with lower boobs, so your boobs are ending around your waist, and then you can see the line, so you've got what we call a double boob, which is really, really not flattering. And when you get to a certain age, particularly my age, sort of, you know, 40s, 50s, 60s, when you tend to lose your middle a bit, your boobs and your tummy can meet in the middle. And the most important thing and the best thing you can do is have a bra fit. It will make such a difference, because what you do is you create the space between your boobs and your tummy, and that gives you that nice space there. So it really, really does make such a difference. So when you are putting on a bra, lots of people put a bra on when they've had a fitting and they're like, oh my God, it's too tight. Of course it's going to feel tight if you've been wearing 2 sizes too big in the band. So what you need to do is swoop and scoop. So you're swooping the boob from underneath the armpit, and then you're scooping, so making sure that everything is in. You don't want any boobs sort of underneath the armpit, and then you get a nice sort of clean line as well. So it's common sense, but it's not, because if you've not been shown, how would you know? So the 2 places I would really recommend going are Bravissimo, as I said last week, and John Lewis in terms of fitting. Or if you've got loads of money, you can go to Rigby and Pell in London, but you know that's sort of, you have to sell a kidney to get a bra there. So why would you want to do that? So John Lewis and Bravissimo are fantastic at bra fitting. And also, how do you look after your bras? The most important thing is to hand wash. But let's be honest, none of us have got time to do anything, to do any hand washing. So put it in a pillowcase or a laundry bag, set it on 30, and then put it in the washing machine. Do not, under any circumstances, tumble dry it, because the wires will poke through. And then when you're hanging it, don't hang it like that, and I'm holding my bra literally upside down. You hang it from the straps so it doesn't stretch. There's so much more I could talk about, because lots of women don't want to wear underwire. They say it's too uncomfortable. The reason it's too uncomfortable is because you're wearing the wrong bra. And people say, oh, I've got lines and marks or whatever. It's because it's too big and it's chafing when you move. So have a bra fit. Honestly, it is the best thing you can do. We would, as a stylist, that's literally the first thing I would do in an appointment before you try anything on. So as I said, just remember, if you're a size 10, you'll be a 30, a 12, a 32, etc., and that's a great way to find out. But we all want our boobs in the right place. And I want to talk about National Singles Week, but more of that later with my guests, Sam and Rachel from Solar Connects. But I went on a singles night last week, and as their guest, and purely for research purposes, but a little bit curious, if I'm honest. And it was interesting. It was very, very interesting. I finally get that fear, that walk of fear that you have when you walk into a crowded room and everybody seems to know each other. And I'm a really confident person. I mean, I do radio, I do public speaking. I can stand up in front of thousands of people and not bat an eyelid. But walking into a room full of people that you don't know, with ostensibly you're there for, to make friends, but I think it's mostly because people want to meet someone, it felt really weird, and I literally wanted to turn on my heel and walk out again. So, but I was, very warmly welcomed by a welcoming committee at the bottom of the stairs, and they said, "Do you want someone to walk in with?" I was like, "No, I'll be fine. I can do this." And I walked up. We were at Warble on the Wharf, which is a great venue actually. Walked up the stairs, saw these people, and thought, "Oh my God, what the hell have I done?" But I just thought, go for it. But there, again, I was welcomed. Sam popped a sticker on me with my name on it, and then you can have a little badge on this, or not a little sticker that's yellow, says you're looking for friendship, and red, you're looking for a relationship. And before I knew it, she'd kind of stuck the little heart on. I was like, oh my God, here goes. And so I will talk a little bit more about my experience. If you're intrigued to find out how it went, did I meet the man of my dreams, stay tuned for the next hour when I'm talking to Sam and Rachel from Solar Connects. Sam and Rachel are 2 single mums and business owners from Milton Keynes, and fed up with the horrors of online dating, of which I can testify wholly to, they're on a mission to bring back old school dating. After the incredible buzz created by Solar Connect since its launch in Milton Keynes last year, in November, the founders of this fresh and fun dating movement are establishing real life singles events and have big plans for National Singles Week. Welcome, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. I can't believe it was February.
And I know.
So much has changed since then. It's like
time just goes on a different timeline in Solo Land. It's so much happens, so much changes, and it's brilliant.
Solo Land, I like that.
Oh, Solo Land. Are you going to trademark that?
I don't know, but I think I should.
Solo Land. So yes, I mean it has. I've watched it grow. I mean, I watched it sort of from sort of the sort of start of the idea of the concept to November, and you guys probably looking at each other thinking, "Oh my God, you're absolutely bonkers. Why are we doing this?" But actually, it has become almost a victim of your own success. I mean, I went to an event last week, more of which later. But I mean, how's it all going? Because you both seem to be incredibly busy, Sam.
Yes, yeah. Who thought getting 20 single people down the pub would turn into 2,200 people in a Facebook group and 7 events a month? It has been crazy, but it's been beautiful. And I think actually the friendship side of it has been the most beautiful part, and people telling us that we've changed their lives. We met this guy in February and he was absolutely petrified at the event, and I kept checking in on, are you okay, because I was really worried about him, and he was like, no, I'll be all right, and a few people said, oh, he's quite cute, so I told him that people think you're quite cute, but it was at our second kind of the Solo Fest that went a bit wrong, but we all ended up on a night out still, and he literally had glitter on his face. He was dancing away, and he literally came over and he said, you guys have changed my life.
Oh.
And I think that moment for me was just amazing, that we're actually getting people out of their houses, even though they're petrified, to come and meet lots of single people, and changing lives. It's amazing.
And that's definitely, and I know that the intention is to meet your person, but I think as a byproduct, you have, people have formed these incredible friendships, and I've met people who have incredible social lives now, and everybody I spoke to on Thursday night at the event at Warbler said that they had met so many friends and made so many new friends, and their social lives were off the charts busy. So that Rachel must feel like a lovely kind of bonus, really.
I think it's the confidence that people have developed as a result. So as you'll speak about later, it is scary walking into a room of people that you don't know, and I think if you can take that first step and just build on it, because I think if you come to one of the events and think you're going to meet your person on event number 1, that's quite unrealistic, and actually you're missing the magic. One of our ladies has been coming, I think, since January, and she messaged me the other day to say that she's joined a running club now, and because she's got the confidence to go into a new setting, a new group, and meet new people. Maybe that's where she'll meet her person, but actually Solo Connects has been that stepping stone and has given her the confidence that she needs to, try something else that she wouldn't have normally tried.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, as human beings, we're such creatures of habit. We don't like change, and so as I said, I very kindly, you invited me as a guest last week, and I was like, oh, I'll be fine. And then I was like, well, what am I going to wear? Which is ironic, because literally that's my job as a stylist. I think, what am I going to wear? What's everyone else going to wear? And because you don't really know. I don't really do that sort of thing. I've got some great friends, and but I don't do that big group of people. And so I thought, I'll put a cheeky little pink Ted Baker dress on, and I felt okay. I've been up since 5. I've been in London.
Gorgeous.
Oh, thank you.
You did look gorgeous.
Honestly, I felt like a rabbit in hell. So as I was walking into the pub, welcoming committee said, welcome. Would you like someone to walk in with? And I was like, no, I'll be fine. And I was walking up the stairs, and I saw that sea of 70 people. I was like, oh Jesus, oh my God, what have I done? And I literally wanted to turn tail and walk back down again. I was like, no, do it. And then you were great, and you're like, come on, put your sticker on, put your name on. I'm putting a red sticker on you.
Yep.
Okay, that's how
put the little love heart on, the little cheeky love heart.
Yeah,
so see if you're open.
Yeah, well, yeah. So, and that was it. And, sort of, it did feel a bit Lion's Den, but also there are people there who are members who looked after me. And, I think initially I probably would have stood next. I think her name was Emma. She was lovely, really friendly. We were chatting, but she's met somebody. She said her social life is incredible, and just to have these testimonials from people is just wonderful. So it's doing something good. And then you play the card game, because I thought, I'm going to stand here all evening, and this is a bit pointless, really. I've got lots of friends. And then you play the card game when you handed out the cards, and I had a 5 of spades, so all the 5s had to meet and chat, and it's a great icebreaker. I mean, icebreakers are cringe, aren't they? Let's be honest.
Yeah, we've tried a few. Yeah, we've tried a few. We had like conversation cards, but this card pack that I've got, some of the questions were a bit, when did you last cry? And I was like, oh no, really don't want to be doing that on an icebreaker. So we've tried a few things. Keep the vibe high. Some companies do like lock and keys, but that's quite expensive to go out and buy all of the locks, all of the keys. And you know what, somebody's going to go home with the keys in the pocket.
I'd
and then
lose
you have
the
to
key.
I'm
always losing my keys. Yeah.
So yeah, by doing the icebreaker, it just like forces people to move around the room and talk to people that they might not have been brave enough to talk to, or because we've had a few of that, haven't we, where we play Cupid. We sort of say, oh, who do you quite like? And they say, oh, well, I quite like that person over there. And I just literally drag them across and say, hey, this is so-and-so, this is so-and-so, have a chat. And that's it. That's all they need. It's just that little bit of encouragement to, you know, have a conversation. So it's good fun.
That really did work. Even though I was like, oh my god, you know. But yes, we'll talk a little bit more about the events coming up. And we were talking about the event last week and the icebreakers and stuff. And I guess you've tried different things to make it, you know, things have worked and things haven't worked. I think that was quite a good thing, because there's no awkward questions being asked. And you know, I was quite lucky statistically. I ended up at a table with 2 chaps. So, and generally, obviously, there's always more women than there are men. So you know, that was quite lucky. You know, I felt sort of numbers wise, odds wise, that wasn't bad.
Yeah, we always try to make sure that our events are as evenly balanced as possible. It's important that people are coming in and, you know, not expecting a ton of women and no men, because then the women are getting disappointed. So we actually slow the ticket sales down for the women, because we could fill our events with women over 40. Interestingly though, the younger gents, so we've got an event on Wednesday for 25 to 35s at Unity Place, and the sales for the younger guys are absolutely storming.
Out, aren't they?
So yeah, and we've actually got very slightly more men than women, and I don't know what goes on with that generation with the guys, but they're just like, yep, boom, go. Whereas the older chaps, we call them lovingly the last minute men, because they're booking literally on the door.
Yeah.
It's crazy, but I think I love in this generation of 25 to 35s who were like, yep, that's an opportunity to get off the dating apps. I don't like them. I want to meet people in real life, and I'm just going to book it and give this a go, and then just not thinking about it too much. They're just hitting book and turn it up.
They always just put a love heart on as well, or give me 2 love hearts. So like, there's no smiley faces. They know what they want.
They're really serious and intentional about what they're looking for, and I think that in modern dating, that's something that's actually really been lost. Everyone's playing it cool and playing their cards close to their chest. Oh, you know, I'm still figuring it out. You're in your late 50s. What are you figuring out? If you want something short term, fair enough. If you want something long term, brilliant. What are you still figuring
just
out?
Be honest.
I don't understand it.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people would do better in dating, because one of the reasons why we set this up was because men are saying this about the women, and the women are saying this about the men, and they're just not getting together and communicating with what they need properly. So yeah, intention, you know, setting your intentions and being clear about it, that's what we need 100%. To work on.
It was interesting because all the guys I spoke to, they were a lot younger than me, like 10, 15, 20 years younger, which is fine, you know, if they want a cougar. But I think, you know,
be careful what you wish for.
But I also think, you know, if someone's maybe in their early 40s and they've not been married and not had children, they're going to want to do that. I mean, I'm 60 next year. I'm past that. So, you know, I didn't mind chatting to younger guys, but, you know, are 60-something men going to be wanting dolly birds? And I guess you probably found that.
We are having that. So we kind of, when we launched, it was like all ages. Let's just try and help everybody. But as we've kind of grown, we've realised that younger girls in particular do not want to be in rooms with older gentlemen. It's just the way it is. And as well, I hate using older and younger, but we'll just use that for this terminology. And the older guys want to be with the 30 and 40-year-olds. And it's just, trying to explain to them. And then a lot of our women in their 60s are feeling really like upset and anxious, because they're like, is this ever going to happen? It's not happening online, and now it's not happening in person, because they want younger people. And these beautiful people are ending up staying single because people have got this thing in their head about what they think they want. You know, and it's been really difficult. So I think now, like, that's why we've launched the 25 to 35, and it's flown because everybody knows that they're in that age group. They're probably looking for, you know, a committed relationship, looking for children. We found actually that a lot of people have left it quite late before having children. So we've got a few gents in their 40s at the moment, and they still want a family, don't they? So trying to find them somebody. So we've got kind of, I think we're looking at a 30 to 45, because again, that seems to be a nice age. And then we are going to be going kind of 40 to 55.
I think so.
And
oh my
then
God, then I'm the next
50
bracket.
to 65 or something like that. But
that's so depressing that I'm in the next, like literally the oldest bracket.
But it is just an age. It is just an age, and I think
it's just a number. You're right.
It's just a number.
Yeah.
It's just an age, and actually, if you're in the right age bracket, you're going to meet people with the same, interests and are retired and want to go on holiday. Like there's this lovely guy in the network. He's just holidaying all the time, so he wants
Can I meet
somebody.
him? What's his number?
I know. He was there. He was there, but he loves to go on holidays. That is his thing, and he wants somebody to go on holiday with him.
Clearly, my Ted Baker dress had no impact.
Oh. Maybe, he wasn't brave enough to chat you up.
Yeah,
I can put a word in.
I definitely think that.
I guess it's that fear as well, of how, and I think for women, it's really hard because as a woman, I would never, even though I'm super confident, would go up to a man and start chatting. Even there was a group of guys on Thursday night, I thought, and I thought in my head, I'm just going to go and talk. And I thought, no, there's no way on God's earth, because we're all fundamentally afraid of rejection. And and also, I would never want to be some sort of interloper into someone's conversation. And, if you went and sort of joined in and they just kind of ignored you. And I think, I think you said off air, we're happier to be ghosted online than we are in person. And I guess that makes sense, really.
It absolutely does. I think we've become a bit desensitized to rejection. Actually, it's quite healthy, and you can reject someone with complete kindness, and you can say, what harm is it to give someone a couple of minutes of your time, even if you don't particularly fancy them, because you may discover something interesting about them. You don't know who they're also connected with. So I think it is really important to just have an open mind and just use it as well as practice. Don't just not talk to anybody until you see someone who really catches your eye. Use it as a way to get used to talking to strangers, because all that's going to do is help when you do eventually meet that person that you are really interested in.
Yeah. And I'm put you on the spot, Sam. Have you met anybody that you fancied yet? Statistically, it's got to happen, isn't it?
So maybe,
okay,
maybe, and unintentionally, we were hosting an event, and then there was just loads of single people ended up turning at the bar, and they were like, "What are you all up to?" And then we got chatting to them and explained what we were doing, and then somebody did cheekily slide into my DMs.
But you had met in person, so that is fine. And
yes, we had met in person, and also as well, I'm quite surprised because I've seen some people on dating apps. And you look at my dating app and think, oh no, they're not quite right. But then this one guy turned up at one of our events, and I was expecting him to be 5'6", because the way he'd taken his pictures, he looked like he was quite short. And he turned up and he was like 6'2".
Nice.
Like quite nice build. And he looked completely different to his profile pictures. So again, I wish these guys would have help with their profile pictures if they're going to be dating online, because I was really surprised.
Well, that's a lovely surprise, because it's usually the other way around, because, men, with all due respect, do exaggerate sometimes about their height, and I think women their age and their height, and I think women exaggerate about their shape and their size, which we shouldn't be doing any of those things, because and I don't know why people lie when they're on apps, because when you meet someone, you're going to go, oh my God, you don't. But
I think some people are using the apps for all the validation they need. I don't think they've got any intention of leaving the house and meeting somebody. I think they're getting...
It's dopamine hits,
It's
isn't it?
exactly dopamine. It's exactly what I was going to say. Those apps are wired to keep you on there and to give you those little hits of dopamine and validation that somebody likes you and is interested. And actually, you can be in control, because you can exit the conversation. You can just disappear at any time. And actually, you can feel fairly good. It's very sad, because actually it is really empty. But for a period of time, you can feel good that you're getting validation, and you haven't had to leave the house, and you haven't had to be vulnerable and face that fear of rejection. But long term, that is not good for anybody, because, as humans, we're wired for connection.
And it's funny because a few people said, oh, you've set up this group and you're still on apps. Well, I think you have to have a little bit of both, really. We can lead a horse to water, but we can't make them drink. So I think now for us it is more about just having a singles community where, you know, people are single, we're hanging out, we're doing fun things. Like we all went to Mead Farm a few weeks ago and it was hilarious being an adult on one of those little cart things screaming down the hill and seeing all these adults going down the slides and stuff. And it was just really nice to see people just doing other things,
finding their inner child as well. And again, you know, I think it's that, and you're absolutely right about the dopamine hits online, you know, because, you know, we are so obsessed with our phones, and when we look at our screen time every day, I mean, it's quite shocking. And then think if you're on an app, you're going to double that time as well. So that whole addiction to be like, oh, you know, so and so's liked me, or they've whatever. But as you say, the physical rejection of being in a room or meeting someone and they don't like the look of you, or they take a step back, or they turn their back, you know, that is really hard. It doesn't matter how hardy you are as a person, that physically is really difficult to do.
And that's why we are always there trying to move about and, you know, support them. And I did actually say to one guy, don't play the game, like don't take the card if you don't want to play the game, because that person now is trying to look for that number that you've got, and they might feel that rejection. And I think we do have that, but I think on the whole most people are.
But sometimes, and I think this is really important, the rejection that you perceive is actually not about you as an individual. It's actually that chap didn't feel happy and confident enough in himself to play. It's nothing to do with the fact that a woman may come up and try to match the two of spades with him or whatever. It's not about that woman, but that person has taken that personally against her, whereas it's not. It's just he's just too scared and nervous to join in. So I think people do need to take rejection a little bit with a pinch of salt. And I actually quite enjoy when, you know, a dating prospect doesn't pan out, because I'm like, brilliant, someone else I can tick off my list. They're not my person. I can keep moving on, you know, and I can keep moving on. And I think that's the important thing, is having that community of people that can, when that does happen, that you're not sat there festering on it yourself.
They post in the group quite a lot, don't they, when they've said that they've, you know, they were about to go on a date with someone. We had one lady once, didn't we? She was about to go on a date with him, and then he said, oh, actually, before I meet you, I need to tell you that I'm married.
What?
And he'd driven a long way.
She'd got herself all dressed up, ready to go. They were just going for a coffee.
Yeah.
But then just before, he then says, oh, I'm married. Like,
oh my God. I literally, we'll come back to that, to some of the things that, it's utter madness. I've got, I nearly fell off my stilettos there. I don't wear them very often. They're about 7 inches tall. So I wear them when I'm presenting, because otherwise I'm like this, and I don't have to walk very far. But even wearing heels to the event the other night, I was like, oh my God, just please don't fall down the stairs. That would just be a very inauspicious way to make an entrance. So Sam, lots of things coming up.
So we're going to be, as I say, focusing on some more age-specific events. So just come and check out our website. Really easy, sellerconnects.co.uk. So we've got age-specific events. Then we've got a massive Halloween party that we're super excited about. So fancy dress is optional, but we're all getting together for that. We've then got our first birthday, and we're going to operate a bit of a traffic light system for our first birthday, because lots of friends and family want to support us, and lots of friends haven't been brave enough to come on their own. So we're going to say to them, you can bring a wing woman or wing man, and they would wear a red wristband to say, look, they're not available. If they're amber, means they're kind of thinking about it but not sure, and then if they're green, they are single and ready to meet people, ready to go. So we all got first birthday, and then we're trying to organise a New Year's party, because we realise as well a lot of people are on their own at New Year's. So we're at the moment trying to find a New Year's venue to get people together and do something in the afternoon with the parents who've got their children.
What about a day disco? These day discos are so popular, and Vicky McClure is smashing it with her day discos, isn't she?
Yeah, that's it. So we've got lots of things coming up, and like I say, it's taken a bit of a time to reflect, because we've lost people along the way because they don't like the way we run it, or like we said, the young girls don't want to be in the room with sort of the older guys. So we're now going to have to go age specific, but with that we have had a bit of a battering that we're being ageist and all these things. And it's like, look, we've tried these things, so now we're going to have to. We also want to do some matchmaking, because we also realise that some people are ready for love. But we went on the doorbell the other day to try and get some investment, because obviously this is taking a lot of time to run this, and it has kind of taken over our lives a bit. So we're going to be doing some kind of some trying to find some investment and matchmaking.
We've done some matchmaking casually, and even some of our members are matchmaking for their pals and stuff. So at Solo Fest last week, one of our ladies matched one of her friends with one of the gents that's been to a number of our events,
hasn't he?
Over the time. But and that's the thing. They're literally they look amazing together, this couple. So they've just had their third date.
Oh, that's so exciting.
In a week. So it's, they're not messing around. But I think they're at an age, they know what they're looking for. But actually, the two of them just were open-minded. They've been to a few events. He's been to a number more than she has. And it just takes that one event for that person to sweep you off your feet. And it's exciting. Watch this space. But again, we have had a number of couples. We'd love to see our couples come back to celebrate with us at their our first birthday with their red.
Yes.
With their red wristbands on. But there's so many love matches that we kind of know about under the radar a little bit, but people are shy and nervous and
don't want to jinx it.
Yeah, that's it. And they don't want to plaster it all over.
Just in case something happens.
Just in case something happens. And people also, depending on their situation with exes and things, that can be a bit
especially if they're going through a long divorce but they're ready to move on. That's really, really hard to navigate, and obviously they don't want that kind of going public in case it causes more problems with their divorce and things. But
we're just going to curse of Hello magazine, isn't it?
We're just going to keep going. We are just keep saying to people, just step out your comfort zone. We're going to do some online events, which I think is going to be really sort of important to get to know people online, to try and help them to be able to step through the door. And there's so many things we'd love to do, isn't there? So we're just trying to work out the best way to help people.
I've actually got a friend who is 38 and she would be perfect for one of the chaps I was talking to the other day.
And this is the thing. I think as well, it's kind of a concept of pay it forward, build your network, keep those people in mind. Who are your mates that you could get set up on dates? It's more than just come to an event and we'll guarantee that you'll meet someone at our event. We can't guarantee that.
There's no guarantees.
But it's that network. It's building that network of people that are in a similar position. And what could be more perfect than introducing your friend to this chap that you met the other day? Because that karma's going to come back for you, and I think that's really important.
Yeah, because I was clearly too old for him. He was 20 odd years younger than me, hadn't been married and didn't have children. So I was thinking,
pass the tip, get her to connect with us.
I will. No, she will come. She just, again, it was the age thing, because obviously there's 20 years between her and I, so we can't go together. So I said, you're going to have to go on your own. But this chap, I will let you know what his name is. But Sam, just quickly, because I know you've got to shoot off childcare and you're doing so much juggling. I literally don't know how you do it. You wear so many hats. It's insane. Any funny stories that you want to regale us with? Because you must have had some hilarious stories.
I think it's more just people just spotting us and looking at us as if to say, there's those girls who set up those crazy singles events, and I can't really think of any I
was spotted walking down the stairs at Dunelm Mill holding 2 curtain poles. I was like, oh, this is what it must feel like to be a celebrity. But that happens.
I mean, seeing people dancing on tables and just hoping they don't fall off, and like I say, at Meadford we were
shoes.
Especially in those shoes. I think there's more happiness.
Everyone having a good time, and from a law of attraction perspective, kind of everybody raising their vibration and just feeling happier about being single. And I think that's what we wanted to try and get across for National Singles Week. Just going, being single isn't something that you need pity for, because actually you can be really happy and have a really, really good time, and we're proof of that. Just got to get.
I'm just thinking about your son. Quite funny about how our children are dealing with this, and he's like, "Mum, you're not going to wear that hoodie again, are you?" Because we wear our hoodies everywhere, and obviously on the back of our hoodie it says "Scan me if you're single," and they're just like, "Please, no one scan your top while I'm with you."
But the kids are thinking about this idea and that idea, and my son's like, oh mum, I'll do a venue recce when I go here for you, because I have to take him to do
and they
some
tell,
of these
like,
things.
if their parents, like, oh, is your dad single? You need to get him to come along to Solo Connect. So, like, the
free
kids,
advertising.
the kids are on the call. So yeah, my son's flexi school, so I need to dash, because we're trying to do this as mums. We've got our own businesses and we're doing this on the sideline. So it's been a journey.
I doff my hat to you both, because you are doing an amazing job.
Thank you.
And having been to the event last week, again, I didn't know what to wear, and that's crazy because that's literally my job. So we were talking off air about how does one dress for these events, because it's really important. So you know, I think it's important that you stick to your comfort zone, because you don't want to wear something you've never worn, because you're going to be fiddling and tweaking all evening. But it's about, you obviously want people to notice you, because that's the whole reason you're there. So it's striking that balance, isn't it?
It is. And I say to people, because I get asked this question all the time, something comfortable and fabulous. So I think that's really important. For me, I don't wear heels because I just hate them. So I always try and make my outfits look kind of quite cute, but with trainers, because I just prefer to be wearing flat shoes. So I would say, you know, don't force your feet into stilettos, for the ladies,
or the men.
Depends. So yeah, try and make sure that you're going to be comfortable, because you know you could be standing up, you could meet someone really nice, and isn't it going to be awful if you're going, oh my god, my
feet are killing me.
Feet are really throbbing. If you're not used to wearing colours, so Nancy looks absolutely fabulous in a really bright coloured dress. If you normally wear your signature black, and the idea of wearing a really bright, vibrant colour fills you with dread, I get that, I understand that, but maybe a little like pop of nail varnish or a necklace or something, a little bit of a statement piece can just help lift. It's a nice conversation starter. When I go around the room, I try and pick things about people, like, oh, I love how you've curled your hair today. It really suits you. You look so different to last time I saw you. Or a necklace or a piece of jewellery or something. It's a really good way to start having a little conversation with people and just ease in. So obviously the advice I've given is for the ladies. For the gents, I do think, again, something comfortable and stylish. Some guys are kind of, can I wear shorts? If it's been really hot, wear a really smart pair of shorts, but just make sure your feet look, you know, nice, because feet can be a little bit of an ick. But yeah, I think as well, it's important to sort of show you and your personality.
As you are.
Don't try and be somebody else. If you're going to be really uncomfortable in a jacket and, you know, really smart trousers, wear something more comfortable, but try and make sure it's, you know, decent, because you want to look like you're making an effort, and that if you're taking a lady out, that, you know, you can up your game and you can look really smart and attractive, because that's going to be important. People are going to be watching out for things like that as well.
Absolutely, you're right. You know, it is about if wearing something that you're comfortable in, but having that little, as you say, a bright lip or a statement piece of jewellery, and as you say, if you never wear heels, I on a day-to-day basis, I don't generally wear heels. I'm a trainer girl as well, because I'm about comfort. But if I was dating, if I was going on any sort of date or a social event, I would always wear heels. So I'm quite comfortable doing that. Having said that, if I had to spend all day in, you know, or I mean, probably by the end of the evening last week, I was thinking, okay, right, I really need to get these shoes off. But you know, each to their own. I think it is about making the best of yourself. And, you know, I'm happy to, as I said to you, present some sort of log, so to show the members, you know, what sort of the do's and don'ts, you know, and the colours that are going to work, because I do talk about dopamine dressing a lot. So even if you are terrified of colour, and as a nation we are addicted to black, you know, that is not going to make you stand out, you know, sort of. People aren't going to notice you because in a sea of black. So as you say, do something a little bit different, and it's you know, that's something I'm happy to help with, kind of coaching people to have the confidence to think, okay, I'm going to wear something a little bit brighter or bolder, because that will get you noticed.
And again, it's just a little signature, you know, a little sign of growing your confidence. So, you know, don't overhaul your entire image unless you feel really cool to do so, but just those little tweaks and little practices, the bright coloured nail varnish, the bright lip, you know, that's just a little signal, you know, little signal that you're
available.
Yeah, and just,
And
building a little bit of confidence.
Yeah, and the
as
red
well.
heart on your stick is a bit of a giveaway as well, isn't it?
So we do, some people just, because they're so nervous or they're not sure whether they're looking for friendship or romance. So we have a little system, we love a label. So we put people's names on. Some people are like, oh, I don't want people to know the name, but people come up and go, oh, he had like dark hair and he was quite tall. There was about 17 men like that. I don't know. Or, oh yeah, she had dark hair bobbed to her chin. I don't know who that is. You've got to get the name. So that's why the name labels are really important. And also having your love heart if you're here for romance, and your smiley face if you're here for friendship. And then everybody knows what your vibe is. Most people put both on so that they can hedge their bets. But we do our best to make sure that, we're facilitating the matching and the love.
Absolutely do. And there's lots coming up in terms of events. So talk us through the events coming up. I know there's one coming up in Northampton, and also how we can find you on the socials.
Sure. So our Northampton event is at Barrett's, and it's on the Friday the 26th of September, so won't be long to wait for that. It's a pool night, so we thought it'd be different and a bit interesting. So we're going to have a little bit of competition, like winner stays on, and we're going to try and match the guys and the girls to play some pool. We think it'd just be a bit of an interesting and fun concept. So people can find us on soloconnects.co.uk. All of our events are listed on there, and you can also follow us on Eventbrite as well.
It's been so lovely to talk to you.
Thank you so much.
It's been a pleasure. And it's been so wonderful to see how successful. I know you're probably having a lot of sleepless nights and doing an awful lot of juggling. Mm-hmm. Both of you you deserve a medal. But what you're doing and what you have achieved in coming up for a year is just nothing short of phenomenal. Even though you're probably thinking, oh, matchsticks, I need some sleep. But I don't think you can underestimate how many lives you've touched, and it's not just about romance. It is those connections. That's why you're called Solo Connects. So
thank you
for your time. I've loved the shows, always great guests. I hope you've enjoyed the content. We've talked about boobs, bras, love, singles, books, what's on the TV, and next week I've got more exciting things. I'm trying to remember what I'm going to talk about next week, actually. Well, I'm obviously going to see two shows, hopefully a meal out, which I haven't actually done for a long time. So I'm being cooked for by a friend, actually, and she said to me, is there anything that you don't eat? And I was like, oh no, not really fussy. And I thought, well, I don't like olives, I don't like offal. I thought, actually, I'm quite fussy, so good luck, Sarah, with that. But thank you so much for listening. If you want to contact me, it's _NancyMK_ on Instagram. Please send me a message if you'd like to be a guest. There is a waiting list, but I would love to have you on my show. Thank you for listening, watching, reviewing. All very welcome. Have an amazing week.